here on the left,
Lugano.
and also, if you can see later on the right. Okay, Lake Lugano. So this area is very famous for holiday resorts, and this is South Switzerland still. Okay, so we are in the southern part of the Italian-speaking region of Italy. Look on the right is a beautiful lake. Yes. So this is very popular for tourists to visit in the summertime. A lot of locals own their businesses here as holiday resorts and hotels along the coast of this lake. Okay, very nice and quiet. The other lake, we're going to pass by the area. We're probably not going to see it, but it's the Lake Como, Lago di Como. So this is the famous lake where all the celebrities and famous people got their holiday resorts, like George Clooney. Okay, so it is going to be in the area which is already northern Italy, Lago di Como. Como Lake is a very beautiful traditional holiday retreat area. Okay, so it became very popular in the Roman times by the patricians. They were the rich aristocrats of Rome who would get away from the heat of the summer to come here to northern part of the Italian lands and come up all the way here to enjoy their summer. So the first settlements and buildings were built by the Romans to enjoy their time in the heat of the summer of Italy. Yeah. So we are reaching closer and closer to the border of Italy. Okay. So once we enter, we are in the Republic of Italy. Okay. So Milano is only 64 kilometers from here. So God willing, we get there on time. We enter this mountain region. As you can see, these mountains is still the Swiss Alps on this side. But when we get across, you will be on the Italian Alps. So Italy's northern region is covered by mountains. And also the shape of the Italian peninsula, which is surrounded by the Mediterranean water and also the Adriatic Sea. Okay, so one side to the east you have the Adriatic Sea, and to the west you have the Mediterranean Sea. Okay. Alright guys, no worries. We're on the road. Some people don't know how to drive. Okay, they were trying to cut us off. Okay, so yeah, so back to the thing. Okay, so Italy, Italian peninsula is shaped like a boot, right? Everyone knows the shape of Italy, right? So Italy is covered in mountains. Most areas are mountain regions. Okay, so we will learn about the history of each place as we're going through, but today we're focusing mainly on the region which we call Lombardy. Lombardy is one of the main regions of Italy. It's in the northern central part of Italy's countryside. So actually the north is most famous for industry. So you can compare the two sides of Italy. The south is more rural, farmlands, etc. And also you have the capital down there, is Rome. And then in the north you have the industrial capital, which is Milan. And also Milan is the financial capital of the whole country. Okay, so this is, you have to remember, there is a huge difference between the south and the north part of Italy, because it has to do with the history as well, but also because the time of the end of the Second World War, a lot of change happens in the Republic of Italy. So now the history of Lombardy and the region of Milan is very important. How this place came to exist. Okay, so today it is the modern city, but back in the day it used to be founded by the Romans. Okay, so the Romans built the city, which they called Mediolanum. Mediolanum. It is in Latin. Mediolanum is Milan. So Mediolanum was built by the Romans as a city up in the north, and was occupied by the Romans till the 5th century. After the 5th century, we call it the fall of the Roman Empire. It's 5th century AD, right? So the Roman Empire collapsed, and a new wave of invaders coming in. So what happened to Rome and northern Italy? All these invaders from the north, different barbarians, Germanic tribes, they come to sack Rome and to attack also Milan, burn it down, pillage and loot and leave. So after this time period, we have the people called the Lombards. The Lombards were also a kind of Germanic people who actually settled down in this area. The Lombard League was a part of this part of Europe. Okay, so they occupied the city, so that's why it's called Lombardy. So Lombardy became a city-state in the medieval era. Okay, so most notable time in the history for Milan is the time of the Italian Renaissance. So Renaissance architecture can be found throughout all of Europe, but the hotbed for this creation of the new wave of architecture and art comes from Italy. We will go and see also in Florence and also in Milan today. So what is the Renaissance about? It is going back to the roots of the ancient culture of the Greece people, the Greek people. Okay, so Greece was the the father of science in Europe, and also the basis for later on Europe's democratic systems. Okay, so it's starting with the Greek people. Later on, all the knowledge was lost. So in the time of the sacking of Constantinople, Constantinople was the empire, the head of the empire, the Eastern Roman Empire. Okay, so we will learn a lot of history this week, so I try to keep it easy because there's a lot of things and probably you don't care so much. So I will try to make it just interesting with small facts, but try to keep it real. So so from Constantinople, a lot of things were stolen by the Venetians because they were the ones sacking it. Yeah, so they went down and burned it down, and with the Fourth Crusade. Okay, so there were the Crusades you heard about, right? So the Crusades went on, but the Fourth Crusade was funny because the Crusaders had no money to pay for it. So the Venetians said, okay guys, I will take you there on one condition: I get to keep the loot for myself. So they went there, they sacked the whole city, the Crusaders chopped everyone up, and then the Venetians stole the art and the gold. And so this include also the knowledge of the scriptures, texts from the libraries of Constantinople, hidden a lot of important information. So in Venice and also Florence and in Milan, all these texts became available for the scholars to study. So there is a rapid improvement in the sciences in that era, after we call the medieval times. So medieval times, 12th century, 13th, 14th century. 15th century, starting the Renaissance, and is the rebirth of new ways of thinking in science and architecture. So you will see in Milan the famous Duomo Milano. There is a lot of artwork and architecture also connected to Leonardo Da Vinci. Okay, so Leonardo Da Vinci, we will hear his name, and also he's a very important person in Italian history. Okay, so in the Renaissance period, you have to understand that there was no Italy, there is no existence, there is no Roman Empire, there is only cities, city-states, exactly. So these city-states have a capital like Florence, Genova, Pisa, Florence, Rome, Vatican. So all these places were basically small countries, right? And they have their own way of ruling, and they've been making trade between each other and war between each other most of the time. So because of that, all these cities evolved separately. Only in the late 19th century, the creation of the unified kingdom of Italy happens, that also Milan becoming part of Italy, what we call today Italy, only became existent only in the recent 20th century. Okay, so it's not an old country actually, but the history of each place has more than 2,000 years history. And we will see all these amazing places, especially now in Milan. Milan is very different from the south, okay? So I can tell you something. And they say you go to Milan, you know, to have party and enjoy, and then you go to the Vatican for atonement for your sins. Okay, so today we party here, and then tomorrow we go to Rome, so we can pray for forgiveness. Yeah, so that is very important, guys. So the north, and especially Milan, is a center for innovation, for architecture, for design, for also for transportation, making cars. You know, the famous Alfa Romeo. You have which cars we have, guys, in Italy? Fiat, Ferrari, Lamborghini. Okay, everyone has one at home, right? You know that. Okay, so toy cars, yes, I also have. But no license. Toy license, sorry. So the main importance of this northern region is basically creating material stuff and selling to the rest of Europe. Okay, so all we're going to see is high-rise buildings mostly, because the time of the Second World War. Second World War is the most important time you have to consider in this time period, because it didn't happen so long ago, a little bit more than 100 years ago, right? So imagine the rapid improvement that happens after the end of the Second World War. 1946, everyone is already peaceful here, and they're trying to rebuild what's been broken and destroyed. So many of the buildings in Milan was destroyed in bombing raids from the Allied forces who were trying to take back Italy from the fascists who were supporting Hitler's regime. Okay, so Benito Mussolini is a famous dictator of the fascist party, leader of fascist Italy in the time of the Second World War, as an alliance with the Germans, right? So Benito Mussolini actually was killed very near here. He was hanged by with his wife by the rebels who were taking up freeing up the surrounding towns. So at the Lake Como, one of the small towns, he was killed. Well deserved. Okay, so because most Italians did not support him and did not like the way the war was going, and they wanted to get out. So because of that, they finished him up. No need for trial. Was guilty, proven, go. So it's a very historical place here. So what is important in Milan today is the remaining magnificence from the historical times, such as Roman times, Renaissance times, and also modern times, as we will see a lot of new high-rise buildings, concept art, and historical buildings such as the Duomo. Duomo Milano is the most famous building of Milan. Okay, so it's the center. It's the center of of all of religion, right? So it's just the biggest, one of the biggest cathedrals of Europe, and one of the most beautiful, intriguing building. Okay, so we are now slowing down because we are reaching the entrance to Italy.